Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and it looks like Warner Brothers Discovery, that deal has not been put to bed yet. Looks like Netflix might get knocked out again by Paramount. We thought it was over. Now Larry Ellison's coming back with a $40 billion guarantee. Like, they really want Warner Brothers. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. It's not a done deal yet. And we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to talk about what that could potentially mean for especially CNN, which is owned by Warner Brothers. And it sounds to me like if Paramount does get a hold of Warner Brothers, they probably will put Bari Weiss in charge of CNN or something. And that might not go well because she's coming under fire from the journalists, her peers. I'm going to use air quotes here because I don't think they're really her peers. They don't like her very much for cutting a story at 60 Minutes that she thought was too dicey. And now everybody's screeching about censorship again. It's going to be really interesting because CNN would never be the same if Paramount bought it. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to more.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV going into 2026. There's going to be a lot of content over there. We're going to start building a bit of a life raft off of YouTube because I don't trust YouTube. You shouldn't trust YouTube either. This is coming from CNN Business, and they don't trust Larry Ellison at all because Larry Ellison is, besties with Trump. Obviously, if he gets a hold of Warner Brothers, there will be changes. And I know Trump is giddy at the prospect of CNN getting shut down or sold off. So we'll see what happens. This comes from CNN Business, ironically. Feels like they're typing up their own obituary. Paramount's new hostile offer to Warner Brothers Discovery. Larry Ellison will personally guarantee $40 billion. That was the issue they had before, if I remember correctly, was that a lot of the money, the counteroffer, the hostile takeover bid or whatever from Paramount was coming from the Saudis. And I think David Ellison pulled his money out. But now Larry Ellison's putting his own money into it. So Paramount has upped the ante in its hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, announcing Monday that Larry Ellison will personally guarantee the tens of billions of dollars he's putting up to bankroll the transaction. The Ellisons will also let shareholders peer into the finances of their family trust. They want it really bad. The Warner Brothers Board of Directors has rejected Paramount's bid multiple times, opting instead to go with an offer from Netflix, which Warner Brothers says is more valuable. The board also said that Paramount has misrepresented itself to Warner Brothers shareholders, calling into question the legitimacy of the deal's illusionary proposed financing. To counteract that critique, Paramount said Oracle founder Larry Ellison, father of Paramount CEO David Ellison of Skydance, will guarantee all $40.4 billion of the equity he's putting up to finance the $78 billion deal. So that's more than half. That's a big guarantee, putting Larry Ellison on the hook for about a sixth of his roughly $250 billion net worth if something falls through. Ellison has also agreed not to revoke his family trust, which could have complicated the potential financing of the deal. And Paramount is publishing records that confirm the trust owns 1.16 billion Oracle shares, which the Warner Brothers board called into question. So basically addressing all of the concerns that they had. There's definitely something going on. There's a sweetheart deal going on with Netflix and Warner Brothers, and I think it has to do with Zaslav's golden parachute is what I think is going on here. But they do not want Paramount to own Warner Brothers. The board doesn't, but the shareholders might feel differently. Now, if Hollywood's smart, I'm going to be honest with you here. They absolutely hate Larry Ellison's politics, but if they were smart, they'd be rooting for Paramount to buy Warner Brothers, because that is probably your best bet to make sure that movies get released theatrically. I'm just saying, even though you absolutely hate the Ellisons, the caveat being that the movies will probably be more right-leaning because of the Ellisons and because of the Saudi investment. I'm just saying. But at least they'll get into theaters. People will have more work. I can't say the same for Netflix. I think if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, they're going to make all these promises, but I don't think they're going to keep those promises. I think they're going to be like, yeah, this is just more content for our streaming service. Paramount also upped its breakup fee to $5.8 billion from $5 billion, matching Netflix promised payment to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders if the deal fell through. One aspect of Paramount's offer that hasn't changed its overall value. Paramount offered $30 a share for Warner Brothers, including CNN and the rest of the cable channels. Netflix offered $27.75 per share for Warner Brothers and HBO, but Netflix and Warner Brothers argue that plans to spin off the cable assets will increase those stations' overall value and will in total value the company more highly than Paramount's deal. Paramount wants CNN. Well, no, Trump wants CNN through his friend Larry Ellison, and they will do what they have to do to get it, I think. And that could include Trump putting the kibosh on the Netflix Warner Brothers merger. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it might get to, I don't know where the president factors into this, but I'm sure he will make a couple of calls and make sure that deal does not go through or that he stalls it out or something, but he would probably expedite a Paramount deal. And that'll probably come up during all of this. Like, it'll be like, well, yeah, we're going to stall Netflix out for years, months or years or whatever. But I'm going to call up my buddies and regulatory buddies and be like, yeah, just expedite this through. That's what I think is going to happen, if you're asking me. But, whatever. Shareholders also have a say, and the hostile nature of Paramount's offer means that owners of Warner Brothers stock could reject the board's recommendation. The Paramount offer is financed in large part by the royal families of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. And I don't think they're going to want all that LGBTQ plus representation in entertainment. I'm just saying this is going to be there is no good scenario for modern day Hollywood. There really isn't. It's either all the Warner Brothers stuff goes to Netflix, and there are probably a lot fewer jobs, and a lot of these movies are not going to be released theatrically, even though they're saying they will. They're going to say what they have to say to get the deal through, and then they're going to do what they're going to do, right? And the other side of it is, yeah, your movies will be released theatrically, but there's not going to be a lot of representation in them given who owns the company. So you're going to have to pick. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's definitely not getting more Tumblr fanfics from Cartoon Network. That's what I'm saying. But it said Paramount has said that it has airtight financing, and David Ellison has publicly called Warner Brothers absurd for questioning whether or not the deal's backers are good for the money. Yeah. Some of the richest men in the world, and you're going to be like, you're too broke for Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers, which has been passed around a lot. Nobody keeps this company for very long. I mean, that's just it. This person's like, daddy, the Warner Brothers are picking on me. No, he actually pulled out, I think. I hope the board remains strong. Of course, Trump will get involved, and it's going to wind up in the courts. So that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I'm going to be honest. I mean, regardless of how you feel about the situation, I think that there will be phone calls made and threats made, and it will not go to Netflix, because if it goes to Paramount, then this happens. We basically run CNN like we run CBS News, and possibly merge them or something, because I don't know how that would get through regulations either, because you can't have two, as I understand it, you can't have like two major news networks, or sports networks or something like that, because that was what the holdup was with the Disney Fox deal. And Fox News had to be spun off from Fox, and the Murdochs kept that. And then they gave Disney everything else. And then they basically just rebuilt Fox. They gave Disney all the old assets, and then they just rebuilt Fox around Fox News, which was, kind of an interesting strategy. Now they have Tubi and everything else. So what did Disney buy exactly, right? What did they buy? Aliens, Home Alone? I mean, that's what they bought. So Bari Weiss, blogger Bari Weiss, who was actually from Pittsburgh, I believe, but she was an editor of the New York Times. She famous or infamously got kind of ousted or fired herself. I think she fired herself. I think they made it very uncomfortable for her to be there. She is not a conservative. But she looks like one if you're very far left, right? So that's the deal. But so they put her in charge of CBS News. They bought her blog for like $150 million. Can you imagine that? Just to get her, to put her in charge of CBS News at Paramount. And now she's already making waves. People hate her. They were going to walk out on her, all yada, 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 And I can almost guarantee you that if by some miracle Paramount does beat out Netflix, she's going to be put in charge probably of CNN too, or something. Or they'll put, I don't know, or merge the two organizations together or something. And it's not going to go well. There will be much screeching. So we'll talk about this briefly. This is coming from The Nation. Bari Weiss's counter-journalistic crusade targets 60 Minutes. So the new editor-in-chief at CBS News has shown she's not merely stupendously unqualified, she's ideologically opposed to the practice of good journalism. Okay. So yeah, they're talking about the mega rich have always been willing to hire, promote, and fund people willing to unquestioningly run interference for their interests while making them feel like their near pathological selfishness, hoarding of money and power, and total disregard for the public interest is somehow more morally justifiable. CBS News editor-in-chief Bari Weiss is simply another in a long line of feckless water carriers for the 1%. The 1%. So is this journalistic integrity? Is this good journalism? This whole first paragraph here? Obviously it's biased. It just sounds like a person writing is just like frothing. So they said, New York Magazine outlined Weiss's popularity with entertainment moguls and celebrities who are very angry about wokeness. It's so rife with the names of A-list billionaires and Sentai millennials that I think I went up a tax bracket just by reading it. Is this good journalism? Is it really? I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're angry. You're angry that she got hired. You're angry they bought her blog on Substack. She had a Substack blog that was very popular. I don't think it was $150 million popular, but it was popular. They bought her blog and they put her in charge of CBS News. And then she's basically in charge of your friends, which you don't like that very much. And I think what's going on here is all these journalists are angry because they're starting to see that the status quo as it has been for the last 10 to 15 years is changing. They're no longer in charge, right? And do I agree with billionaires or a handful of billionaires owning everything? No, but the truth of the matter has always been that way. It's always been that way. What do you want me to say? I was watching the other night, I was watching the Very Merry Muppet Christmas movie. It was on NBC years ago, and I love that movie. I thought it was really good. And it was basically It's a Wonderful Life with Kermit the Frog, and it's got Joan Cusack is in it, and Whoopi Goldberg's in it, and it was pretty good. It was a throwback to a simpler time when we could be funny. But Kermit makes a joke about brand synergy, and this is before Disney bought. I think it was before Disney bought the Muppets. I think it was like 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. But he made a joke about brand synergy, and then his watch has the NBC chime on it. And he's talking about all the billionaires that own everything. And that's kind of always the way it's been, right? And it's unfortunate. But it's like, I guess my thing, and the people complaining, for the most part, the people complaining the loudest are working for companies that were bankrolled or founded by billionaires and millionaires. Ted Turner. I mean, does the name ring a bell? CNN, Ted Turner. It's like they loved Elon Musk until they didn't. They loved Donald Trump until they didn't. And it's because they're not going along with the narrative. I guarantee you if Bari Weiss was super far left, this would be a good thing, that she was in charge of everything. Now we'll finally get some real journalism. I guarantee you. It'd be the same with the Ellisons owning Paramount. Well, finally, we'll get some, this is going to be good. This is a good thing for Hollywood. They just don't want these billionaires to own it over the other billionaires because these guys are friends with Trump. It's all, you know what I'm saying? And they won't be able to do what they want. That's what it is. But they're all rooting for Netflix now, kind of. I think they know the truth. I think they know that the party's over if Netflix does buy Warner Brothers. I mean, it might go along as is for the first, couple of years, but after that, they're going to be like, you know what? Theaters are kind of pointless. And we could talk about that whole thing with, the box office this weekend. It wasn't fantastic. Avatar way underperformed. And I think they're giving Netflix all the ammo they need to be like, you know what? Box office is dead. So we're just going to raise up Netflix subscription and all the movies, we're going to drop them on Netflix. And that's how it's going to work. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. Going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.